Welcome to another episode of the TarPack podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the games from this past Thursday through Monday, a wide range of college football, an incredible weekend of college football. But we're going to talk specifically about the games that NC State had and North Carolina. North Carolina playing Minnesota on the road, and NC State playing Western Carolina at home. So, starting it off here, we're also going to preview next week's matchups as well. And State's got a pretty big one, so stay tuned for that. But Carolina going on the road to Minnesota. Game was delayed an hour due to lightning. So it was a late start. It was not as good of a crowd as it could have been because of that late start and all the rain and all that kind of stuff. But let's get into the preview here. Max Johnson did end up getting the start for the Tar Heels, and he had a rough first half. He really did. But he came out in the second half completing 5 consecutive passes before getting injured, unfortunately. And he is now out for the season with a broken leg. He's actually having 2 surgeries. And so he's going to be out for the rest of this season 100%. Who knows what he does next year, stays in Chapel Hill, moves on, or whatever. But the university does plan on him having a full recovery, but that could be a very long time with a severe injury like this one. But Connor Harrell stepped in and had a few moments when he came in, mainly that read option play, throw to J.J. Jones. That was huge for getting Carolina back in field goal range again. But overall, a really bad performance from the quarterbacks as a whole. Yeah, I don't want to say we expected it. I didn't expect it to be quite this bad, but hopefully Carolina can get it figured out. And the fact that with this horrible quarterback play, we still went on the road and beat a Big Ten team, that is major credit to this team as a whole. Marion Hampton was great. He's the offensive player of the game for me. 30 carries, 129 yards, and 5 catches for 17 yards receiving. Didn't get in the end zone. We only had 1 touchdown overall. That was a rushing touchdown by Max Johnson. But O'Marion kept us in this game for a lot of it. His big chunk runs that he had every once in a while gave us a good boost that we needed. J.J. Jones was the leading receiver. Overall, a good day from him. He did have a few drops, but don't expect to see that the rest of the season. It was kind of some unfortunate scenarios. One was on the tip of his fingers, and one just bounced off his knee. So defensively, huge step up from the Tar Heels. This was a defense that needed a guy like Jeff Collins to come in and just spark some energy and just get after the quarterback and just play free and aggressive. And that's what they did in this game. Leading tackler, the former NC State Wolfpack, Jakeem Harris. He had 10 tackles on the day. He had a good game. Power Eccles as well. My 3 defensive players of the game, I want to go with 3 here. I'm going to go with first, you got to give a nod to the way Javari Ritzie played. 3 sacks that were absolutely huge. Coming into today, he only had 2.5 sacks in his entire career. Now he has 5.5 after the 3 sack performance against Minnesota. So great job there. Kamen Rucker, always an absolute force off the edge. He had a sack and 2 tackles for loss as well, and also deflected a ball at the line of scrimmage. And then Caleb Cost. I don't know why I said Caleb Cost. But Amari Campbell, the second linebacker next to Power Eccles, he was flying around all over the place. He knocked the ball free from Max Brosmer, Minnesota's quarterback, that Travis Shaw ended up recovering. Travis Shaw had a pretty good game himself, by the way. But Amari Campbell was really all over the place, playing with a lot of energy. Almost had a sack as well if he could have got his arms around the quarterback. So, that is the defense right there. Great performance overall. Really proud of them. Even though Minnesota's offense isn't the greatest in the world, it's not like it was an FCS team or something they were playing against. This is a good team that had a really good running game, Minnesota did. So, but overall, the player of the overall game has to go to the special teams. Noah Burnett, 4 for 4 field goals with a long of 52 yards, which is his career high. He was phenomenal in this game. every single kick had to go in for Carolina to win this, and he just did that. Punting, Tom McGinnis, a lot of question marks coming into whether he'd even be the starting punter, but he was phenomenal. Pinned a punt on the 2-yard line. He was great. 3 punts for 153 yards. He was phenomenal today. As for Minnesota, they did what they did. It could have really helped them to have Darius Taylor, but Marcus Major wasn't bad himself, honestly. Daniel Jackson was their really only receiving threat all night. But, yeah, good performance overall from the Tar Heels. Kind of got lucky there at the end, but we'll take it. A win is a win nonetheless, especially against a Big Ten team on the road. The only Big Ten team that lost was forced by the Tar Heels, so good on us for that. Now let's get into the NC State versus Western Carolina preview. First of all, let's start with what were your thoughts from Grayson McCall in this game? I know he had a bad first half, but started to figure things out, especially late in the fourth quarter.
Well, really the whole team had a pretty horrible starting for the whole first half. From our defense getting a 4th down stop to being called a targeting, and then they're getting a 1st down and a touchdown, which was their starting linebacker, so that hurt us bad just at the start of the game. And then to start, Grayson McCall, 26 for 40, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Late in the third quarter, for the fourth quarter, he made really not one mistake. Really, in the first half, our only offense was Kevin Concepcion, and that's really it. It was really just him for the whole first half with 9 receptions for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Jordan Waters in the fourth quarter, bro had one 50-yard run at the end of the game where he would just full big body mode and just basically just stiff arm all the defenders. And I know it's an FCS school, but honestly, if there's one good thing you could take away from this, the debacle of the first half, is Dave Doran's going to be definitely not happy with this performance, and he's going to be pushing them very hard, especially with what's coming up next, which is going to be a game against Tennessee, which, if we can win this, we can show that we are a team that needs to be looked at as a team that can make it to the college football playoffs.
Sure, yeah. So who is your defensive player of the game? I know Caden Forum, who is a guy who was kind of anticipated to step in for Peyton Wilson in that kind of role. He was ejected early. So who is your overall defensive player of the game in this one?
Really, I would say probably Aiden White. He's always just absolute clams at his position. Davin Bain had a good game today with 1.5, 1.5 TFOs. And, really, our defense was not great in the first half, but honestly, I feel like our team was not halfway trying at the start because they thought it was an FCS school. There's no way they were actually trying when they're down in the fourth quarter, and then you just come out in the fourth quarter and score 21 straight, and you basically give Western Carolina 8 plays and stop them 8 times in a row by getting them a 1-yard play.
What are your thoughts on how big of a factor losing a guy like Peyton Wilson is for this team?
Well, obviously he was one of our best defenders, probably honestly all the time. So, it was tough, but we have a good defensive coordinator. We have, really, it's like Bradley Chubb. We built back after we lost him, which was one of our greatest defensive players. We got a great defensive coordinator. He just needs to teach up the same guys coming in for these other guys to be the same as them, to just be hard-hitting dogs that just want to knock people's heads off, and then we're going to be fine.
Okay. So, good win for NC State there, really starting in the fourth quarter. But let's get into the previews of this next week, week 2 of college football. North Carolina plays the Charlotte 49ers, a team loaded with former Tar Heels, actually. You Tim Cross on the D-line coach. You got Dre Bly at corner coach. He is also there. So that's 2 former North Carolina position coaches that are on this team. Then you got cornerback Dante Balfour and Justin Olson at receiver and J.Q. Conley at safety. A whole bunch of guys that formerly are Tar Heels that are now here in Charlotte. But with that said, Charlotte is not a very good team. They're extremely banged up right now as well. They played JMU close for a quarter and a half or so, but they did lose by quite a bit actually. So Carolina should not have much of any problems whatsoever with Charlotte. The way the offense is still kind of adapting, I could see this game being close for honestly even the first half. But, much past that, I don't think this game would be close at all. I could see the first half it being like 10-0 or something like that. But I think Carolina ends up getting the win like 35-7 or something like that at the end of this game. I think we'll do pretty good. I think Connor will be fine. I think we'll use his legs enough where we feel confident enough where we can do that. And Marion Hampton should have a big day with the big offensive line that's in front of him and a Charlotte team that's banged up and not the greatest talent-wise in the first place. Now let's get into the preview, the big one of the week. NC State going up against Tennessee in the Dukes Mayo Classic. Those of you who are Tar Heel fans, or maybe even some NC State fans, will remember last year Carolina played South Carolina in this game in the opening week. Now it's NC State and Tennessee. Tennessee with a pretty impressive win, even though it's against an FCS opponent, against Chattanooga last week. State struggled for a little bit against their FCS opponent, but these teams are coming in 1-0. They'll both be ranked at this time. It'll be a ranked matchup. NC State is closer in proximity, but those Tennessee fans also travel pretty well, so it should be a pretty loaded crowd for both sides. What are your predictions and what are your thoughts about this matchup? Tennessee is currently the favorite.
Well, I would just say I wish we were playing against South Carolina. But nope, we're not. We're playing against Tennessee, which is fine. So, we win this game, it'll bring our resume up way more. And it would just make me honestly way more confident for the rest of the season. With us going to ACC, way more confident. And honestly, if our defense can just start out the game with hard-hitting plays to make them fear us a little in the start, and our offense comes out just throwing across the field, getting good running plays by Jordan Wadded, I really feel like this game could be close, like 24-27. I'm going to say NC State's going to win because obviously my factor, if you don't believe you're going to win, you need to believe. And I don't know why, but yeah.
Okay, so basically your logic is NC State is going to win because you think they are. Great logic. Okay, but anyways, no, I see that being a possibility. Casey Concepcion is going to have a huge game in this one, right?
Oh, 100%. Really?
I think Nico Imialava, the redshirt freshman for Tennessee, he's going to be pretty good, but this is going to be the best team he's faced at the start of his early career.
Yeah, he's an insanely tall, talented quarterback. Has a good arm, has good running ability. But, I feel like with this defense he's going to be facing, as a young player, he had not been in college that long, against Grayson McCall, he has been in big games before. He's been at Coastal Carolina. Even at the years they were good starting when they were ranked number 10 in the country. He's been in these type of moments before. And Tennessee's quarterback really never has. So, this is going to be the best team he's played. So, if we get to start out the game with hard-hitting plays, sacking him multiple times, like the first quarter, to get him scared, I really think NC State can win. Even though, do I think NC State's the better team? No. I think Tennessee has better players. I think they're a better team. But do I think NC State is going to win? Yes, I just feel like their quarterback is better than ours. I just feel like Grayson McCall just has more experience. I mean, Jordan Waters had been in college for a while. Casey Concepcion. I mean, he is just one of the best wide receivers in college football this year. So, I mean, that's all you got to say.
All right. Yeah, so that's a good stuff there. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of the TarPack podcast. We'll be watching a lot of college football this week, and we'll see you next week where we review these games and talk about the future. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Go Heels.
Go Pack.